I started painting as a youngster. I actually have a watercolor in my house that I painted in 1962 when I was 16 years old. My parents bought me an oil painting set when I was in college, and I painted a lot of landscapes and seascapes when I was in college, but after graduation I found that earning a living and having a family made serious inroads into my time for painting, and I more or less gave it up until I was walking through Michael's Arts and Crafts with my wife, my two granddaughters in the summer of 2014. And I saw an oil painting, not an oil painting set, a watercolor set. And I bought it and didn't know what to paint. I went online, looked for colorful birds. I found hundreds of them, and I decided to paint a few. After I got to my seventh, I found out that painting derivative images from web-based pictures can lead to copyright infringement and get me in lots of trouble. So all the fun that I was having seems to have stopped, but I was lucky. Family chimed in. My daughter lives in New Orleans. Her mother-in-law is a very talented amateur wildlife photographer, and about half of the images that I used to make my paintings were taken by Brenda Robert, half the ones that are on exhibit here at the Wakeland room of the library. And I've been painting birds ever since. I've done about 50 birds in the last 4 years. I don't have an answer for why I'm painting birds all the time. I started out because it was the first subject matter I looked at, and I got so much enjoyment out of doing the brilliant colors and the delicacy of the feathers that I decided not to do anything else. As I said, I painted about 50 birds. I have painted other things. I have 3 granddaughters. I painted one portrait of each of them. One of them came out well enough to share, as it were. I also painted my daughter's cat before he passed away, memorial, and I also painted a red fox cub. But other than those 5 paintings, everything has been birds, and I have no plans to change in the foreseeable future. I painted in oils when I was in college, and briefly before I got married at home. And I paint indoors in a room that doesn't get much air, and the smell of oils got to me. It's difficult to clean up. If it gets on your hands, you have to clean it off with turpentine. And when I decided to start painting again in 2014, I viewed watercolors as a much more tame media, and I've been very happy with it. I heard a long time ago that it's very difficult to work in watercolors, and the proof is in the watercolors I did when I was a teenager. They didn't come out very well, but I seem to have gotten used to it, and I keep improving with time and with more work behind me. I'm a landscape architect. I have a firm in Boston. There are 2 of us, 2 partners, and I painted landscapes and seascapes as part of my landscape architecture background in college and after college. But the work that I was doing has transferred from hand work to computer work. So the business that I do has taken all of the fun out of freelance art, and it's now relegated to a digital media. So I guess one of the reasons I started painting again was to get back to using my hands in a more creative fashion. I don't know that I'd call landscape architecture art, but it is. It's called the art and science of working the land and doing improvements to it. But creative, I wouldn't consider it as creative an art as painting or sculpture or things like that. One of the things that has become important to me are my grandchildren. I have 3 granddaughters, and they are the lights of my life. And I hope to paint all of them again sometime in the future. As I'm getting older, one of the other reasons that I have taken so strongly to painting is because my tennis and golf careers have gone by the wayside as I've gotten older. Because I'm self-taught, and one of the problems I have, one of the many problems I have in trying to create art, is that I paint very, very slowly. I know a lot of people paint plein air in the outdoors, and if I tried to paint birds in the outdoors, my subjects would be gone before I even opened up a tube of watercolor. Another is I'm very light on technique. When I want to draw a thin line, I'd use a very narrow brush, and I would love to be able to find out from someone who has painted for years or taught for years how to create elements in watercolor that can be done quickly rather than painstakingly slow. A lot of people tell me my chief attribute as an artist is not skill or talent, but patience, because I put thousands of strokes into each of my paintings. I'm a member of the Needham Art Association, and I went to one presentation where people were displaying their work, and the person before me was asked how long their painting took because it looked like it was done very quickly. And she said, "I did this in about 2 minutes." And I said out loud, "I've spent more than an hour doing one eye of a bird." And I was not exaggerating when I said that.